Welcome back to the cave, guys.
Hi, Janet.
Good to see you.
Yeah, likewise. Good to be back.
Wonderful to see you, Carl. Richard?
Yeah.
This is a cringy start to today's topic, which is surviving the cringe.
Okay.
First episode of a podcast. It's going to feel awkward. It's going to be hard to convince the right people to get around the table with you. How do we do it?
All right. So is that why you're doing it today?
That's why I'm doing it today. I want to just, help people see that it's okay to feel awkward and you can get past it.
I think that the cringe is almost like a rite of passage when you're filming a podcast. Everybody feels it. Nobody likes the way they look on camera. Nobody likes the sound of their own voice, at least not initially. I caught a glimpse of myself in the monitor there. I was like, who's that guy? But it was just me from another angle because obviously I only see myself in the mirror.
Yeah.
So you've got to get over the fact that you look and sound different. But the reality is that is just how other people see you. That's what you
all
look
day long.
like.
Yeah.
They're not seeing you from that angle for the first time all of a sudden, and it's like, oh my God, who's that guy?
Yeah.
So you just got to accept that, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm still accepting that. But,
So I think that's one thing, the cringe around hearing yourself and seeing the recorded version of you being played back. But then I think there's the other factor as well, and that is the cringe of having to speak about something in front of a camera.
So people are worried about talking in front of a camera, and we've got to remember that we're not talking about people that aren't professionals, right? That don't work off scripts. So you've got to talk about stuff that's in your head already. So why are you on the podcast if you don't know what you're talking about?
Maybe what we need to clarify is that when you are developing the idea for a podcast and you are thinking about the content that's going to happen in your podcast, it's important that you start with a topic or a niche that you are very familiar with.
Yeah, like this topic, right?
Kind of like this topic. And, I think it's something that we experience in real life as well. Everyone talks about imposter syndrome and how you feel like, well, I know these things, but maybe I don't know enough about these things to be able to talk about these things. And now all of a sudden you've got cameras, you've got audio equipment listening to your every word. And I think there's a tremendous amount of cringe.
well, you're putting yourself out there.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how do we convince people that have incredible subject matter and they're knowledgeable, they're experts on their topic? How do we get them in front of a camera?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest steps is to forget that you're on camera.
Yeah.
And make sure that whoever you're engaging with, like you, that we can have just a casual conversation and that we're not intimidated by each other. That there's no one around the table that's out to get you. Just feel comfortable in your space. I think that's a big deal. A lot of actors will sleep with cameras in their hotel rooms just to get used to the camera being there.
For real?
Yeah, for real.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, like it's a real tactic to get so used to cameras being around.
Yes.
They set them up in the hotel rooms overnight and then they just get used to them and get over that inhibition.
Okay.
Other people don't care. Other people can just chat away whether they're on camera or not.
Yeah.
But I think that'll come. You've just the more you do it, the better you're going to be at it. And I think when you're watching it back, this is when people tend to cringe the most because now they're actually seeing it. Yeah. But I would advise don't watch it back immediately. I find if you go and start watching it as it's shot, you sort of still feeling a little bit awkward, worried about that thing you said and all of that. If you watch it a few days later, you've forgotten about all those little awkward bits
obsessing
and pieces,
about things that actually maybe don't
that you get away with
matter
in the actual final cut. And then I also think when you're watching it back, think as like an editor rather than a critic. So like when you're watching it back, look at the content and think about where you could improve it and say, okay, well, I mustn't sit like that, or I did a lot of ums and ahs there and all of that. Sort of treat it as if you're critiquing someone else's content. So you can improve time on time. Your first one is always probably going to be a little bit while you're getting used to things.
Yeah, of course. And look at all the big podcasts that start out and where they are today. It's not exactly overnight success.
Oh, no.
And I'm sure even they would feel the cringe if they went back and looked at Ep 1. They'll be like, oh, gosh, Is that what I did? Is that what I said?
Yeah, absolutely.
Weird.
The other
Yeah.
things you can do is join your local Toastmasters,
Okay.
get used to public speaking.
Mm.
If you can do 100 strong crowd, you could probably do
Yeah.
3 people around a table.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, that's the thing, though, Carl. I feel like if you are able to talk to people in your day to day, for us, it would be sitting in front of a new client and talking to them about their business and unpacking that with them and understanding their marketing objectives. You're talking about your stuff every day already.
Mm.
The difference now is that you're doing it in a structured format. You're kind of saying, okay, well, I'm going to force myself to sit and talk about the things that naturally you would talk about without even any thought day to day. And I think I want to just go back to something else you said earlier, Carl, which was about scripting. I think something that people maybe have in their minds about a podcast is that you go into it and you know what you're going to say.
Exactly.
But that's not the case.
It's not the case. And I think, look, there's different ways to do different things. And there's different styles of podcasts. But I think what draws people to podcasts is authenticity and having someone have a prepared answer feels more like you're answering the news political questions.
It's an interview, yeah.
It's an interview. It's not an open discussion that anything can happen, where I could throw you a curveball in this conversation and that's unscripted.
Yeah.
But that's not to say you can't plan.
I think that's the key. I think you got to plan, but not write a script. Like have some topic ideas, have some questions and things like that. Like even with this episode now, this talking part feels natural because we're just having a conversation. The part when you're saying, hello, welcome to Hi-Ho Studios, it feels unnatural.
Yeah.
It's like literally the only one scripted sentence in the whole thing.
And it's the one part that I don't say every single day.
Yeah.
Talking to you guys on a regular basis is very normal and very natural. So that feels easy. Yeah. Introducing you in a podcast.
And good to see you again, but we've just driven 4 hours together in a car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
exactly.
And my advice, if you were my client, I would be saying, well, then just don't do that.
Yeah. Just
especially
hop right into it.
Until you get comfortable with going, hi ho, how you guys doing? Then just don't do it. Hi fam.
Yeah.
Don't do it if it doesn't feel natural to you.
Yeah.
But here's a question. Is there anybody that should cringe after watching themselves? Is there a point where you just go, I'm not good at this, I shouldn't be in front of camera?
I mean, we've spoken about people with terrible voices or what we find to be irritating or
we listened to one today.
We did. But I mean, that's what that person sounds like. The way I find their voice is a personal feeling. I don't think you can say, no, that person shouldn't be on a podcast.
I think I've seen a lot of it, not necessarily on podcasts, but just on social media, like people writing music that someone that loves them actually needs to just say, look, just stop.
No, but that's a whole other story, right?
But there are quite a few people out there, I think, sometimes that don't actually know what they're talking about or are unconsciously incompetent.
Yeah. So poor communicators
poor communicators.
I think that's the truth.
I guess I think maybe what you could find is that someone who isn't naturally able to just talk and, allow the flow to happen might eventually find that it's too difficult, it's exhausting, it's mentally something they can't get through, and then that person would probably need to either find someone that they can have run the podcast for them or facilitate the conversation and keep it going. But I don't really feel personally that anyone should be told, no, stop. You shouldn't be doing that, because I also feel like if you are talking about a topic that is really something you know a lot about,
and maybe something you're passionate about. There'll be some niche. There's a niche for everything.
And I think that comes through, no matter if you have a weird nasal tone or a terrible accent or whatever. If you are passionate about it, there are going to be listeners for you.
Yeah, so use your flaws. They're more benefit than a disadvantage.
Well, I mean, that lady that was irritating us this morning. Some people, lots of people listen to her.
Yes, and I don't think everyone finds it irritating. I think it's a personal
So it's
thing.
also very subjective, right?
It was
So,
subjective.
so when we,
But
when,
you should have heard this later.
so
Yeah.
so I mean that brings me to actually the point is it is so subjective,
Totally.
and as long as you're getting your message out in the way you want to do
Yes.
it, then
Yes.
you're fine.
One other thing on this point, like when should you maybe not be on a podcast? I think there's also a discussion around what is acceptable in a podcast.
In
I
what
think
way? Like,
maybe I'm talking about specific topics
okay.
or types of language that are used. You know, I think for
But we're talking in a corporate sense now,
Absolutely.
or not an
Yeah.
individual entertainment
Yeah.
sense. Yeah.
And I was just about to say that. You know, I think for
Sorry,
for
did I
us-
cut you off?
That's fine. I'm used to it. Yeah, there you go. Stop. No, I'm kidding. I think for a brand or a business that's building podcast content as part of their materials that builds trust for their brand, educates and allows their listeners to engage with their business, that's a different conversation to an entertainment podcast or
Yeah.
a political column or something that's you know in a niche where you can get away with certain things.
Yeah. So feel the cringe, don't be cringy
Yeah.
is kind of what
Yeah.
you're trying to say.
Yeah, try and act naturally. So, like, don't just,
Unless you're
unnaturally drop some
cringy.
F-bombs or something because
Yeah.
you think it's
Yeah.
going to make you cool, but you don't swear all the time. So it's
And that's
just
not
It
your
just
brand voice.
yes, and it just looks like you're trying real hard.
But you got to talk to your audience. If you're doing a podcast for a skateboarding brand, then you can be a bit more casual and.
But I
whatever,
think those people, if that was their brand already, that was their business, they know their customer, it's probably intrinsic there already.
Yeah.
That would come across naturally.
I think the cringe is gone, right? We spent a few minutes talking and now our cringe is over.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Just do it, right?
Yes.
And do it often
Yes.
and practice.
Yeah.
You know, the old thing of standing in front of the mirror and talking to yourself. All those things work. Find
They
what
do.
works for you and
Yeah.
go for it. Did you talk into the mirror before we came?
No, but this is natural for me because I'm sitting with people that I talk with a lot. And we've had these conversations plenty of times. So the subject matter is easy. I think if you asked me to sit here and talk about something that I wasn't already knowledgeable about, I'd feel quite different and a lot more nervous.
Also, there's 3 of us here. That helps with the cringe.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you were just on your own, which we have done before, just straight to camera,
Yeah.
it's a lot more intensely cringy.
Yes.
But when you're just talking to people that you're comfortable
Yeah.
with,
Yeah.
that's how it should kind of
So,
be.
just another thought. Having a guest on your podcast can throw a little bit of a new dynamic into something. And something that we really recommend is that if you are going to be interviewing or having a discussion with a guest that you don't actually know or have never met before, it really is worthwhile trying to have a call, a meeting, even a video call with that person beforehand if you can, so that you can build a little bit of a relationship and get a sense of that person and their style of talking, how easy it is to get them to participate in the conversation, because sometimes it's like drawing blood from a stone with some people.
Yeah, and we can talk about, the pre-interview is really important. And today it's so easy with Zoom and online things, but it's also really important to see that person.
Yeah.
Because, and I'm not talking about now filtering people on what they look like,
Okay.
but if they have an aspect to them that is distracting away
Okay.
from your subject matter,
Yeah.
you may want to consider a different guest.
Okay.
If their manner of speaking is really not your audience's thing.
So I think the discussion around what can make it feel awkward or weird is if you are sitting with a guest that you've never met before. You don't know if the conversation's going to flow nicely. You don't necessarily know, how difficult it is going to be to get them to answer questions or to behave in a natural way, and you were suggesting maybe, you interview them before
Yeah,
you interview them.
Absolutely do a pre-interview. Hands down, do not interview someone
Yeah.
you have never met before.
Yeah, they could
Yeah.
be a loose cannon or
Yeah,
go
they
rogue or
could
something.
offend people on your channel,
Yeah.
especially we're talking about branded stuff.
Yeah.
There's just no way.
Yeah.
You just shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Um,
I suppose it'd be much more risk though if it were live versus pre-recorded, because
Yeah.
if it's pre-recorded and it's absolute garbage, you just
chuck
don't.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, but still,
use that
you've
episode.
wasted time.
No, sure. Yeah.
Money.
And then you've got to have that separate awkward conversation with that guy whose phone didn't go on
So,
silent before you started recording.
It's my watch that didn't go on.
Yeah.
And now I'm actually not sure
How to do that.
why.
Why didn't we interview this guest before
We should have
started
just gone
this
rogue
guest?
on the podcast. Yeah.
Hold on.
It's ruining it, taking our
There, it's on silent now. Sorry.
brand is in the gutter now.
So I'm so used to you. I forgot what we were doing.
The other thing that is worth mentioning is to just like listen to the director and the other guys behind the camera, because they are going to help you not look like a fool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Especially when you're new.
Yeah, already we've stopped a few times and tweaked some things and got some direction from Stefan. So
Well, I mean, that's the beauty of working with professionals. When you are creating a podcast, if you are looking to minimize the cringe, you want to be using good gear. You want to be helped by people that know what they're doing, and it's not their very first time, even if it is your first time.
If you're going to look dumb, do it in HD with excellent quality audio.
You mean 4K?
That's what. 4K.
Yeah.
Cool. That's even going.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Janet. And thanks for not making this cringy.
Yeah, it was great. Thanks for your time. See you soon.